Hello everyone, it's Bobbi-Jo and welcome to our first calligraphy lesson thing. Uh, so, if you don't know, I am doing a small series, well, might not be small, I don't know, about like it's me learning to do calligraphy. I will never be a master, I imagine, but I do like the look of calligraphy, and not only the look of it on crafting, but also I look at it as a kind of a meditation as well, a form of meditation where you're concentrating so much on your penmanship that I'm assuming that everything else just floats away, kind of. So that's my hope. I am not going through the history of calligraphy. I will let Google do that for me. However, about this book, just made some quick highlights just to make sure. So this is a guided journey with professional calligrapher Diane Iannuziello. I'm hoping I didn't murder that too much. But she's going to take us through the letters of the alphabet, one pen stroke at a time, encouraging you to master each individual portion until everything just looks right. She provides us with tips and tricks to make sure that our ink flows well, our pen is kept in good condition, and even shows you some sample designs and projects you can get started on. So, like I said, not going to get into the history of it. So we're just going to cut to this. I do have my water in a container. I have my little blotting thing here. I always have something to blot on anyways in my craft room. So yeah, basic materials. So before we begin, we'll be sure that you have a hand calligraphy pen along with different nib sizes, fine, medium, and broad, which I do have, but I chose medium for now. Lots of inexpensive paper. They supplied this in the kit. Towels or a blotter, and small container of water. So now you're ready to begin. Choose a drawing board or a table surface. Yeah, okay, that's clear cut. Care of our pens. So care of the Pens Nib is important. Always flush it out with water before putting it away. This will give the nib longer life. I don't know how you do that with a I don't know whether I just do that. Yeah, I'll have to look into that. Putting it away, this will give the nib longer life, prevent it from clogging, and make it ready for use the next time you pick it up. Once you have the ink cartridge attached to your nib, or the pen's chamber filled with ink, this is an ink cartridge type pen. So what we're going to do, so either the hand tower, so what we're going to do is what we did actually yesterday, and we're just going to get this nib flowing so that it's smooth for us. So it says filled with ink, paper towel, or blotter to get the ink started through the nib. So what you're going to just place the nib against the paper towel or ink blotter and pull the nib towards us. until the ink is flowing out. So just like we're getting there now. Remember, you always pull the nib towards you while working with it. So the pulling motion draws the ink through the nib. If you use the pushing motion, the nib will catch on the paper and splatter the ink. It is also very hard on the nib. So, okay. So I'm going to get my pad ready because we are starting our first basic steps. So I figured we would practice, we would do these first three things. So this is always the beginning stroke. You should never move the pen in your hand. It should always be kept at the same angle on the page. Practice many rows of this stroke. Use an inexpensive bond paper to practice these basics. It's best to use the unlined paper. If you begin to learn calligraphy with lines, you will find you become reliant on them. By practicing on unlined paper, you will develop your eye for straightness. And I find this a lot with crafts, the more that I practice. While doing these basic strokes, if the ink does not flow, correct the angle until you have the stroke like the sample shown. You will develop a feel for when the ink flows well and continue to do this very basic stroke until you have consistency. Okay, so the very basic stroke is this. I'm going to let you guys pause that. Okay, so let's see about making this first stroke. All right. They just now it's a little, I don't know how people would do who don't slant to write. I'm just like, I'm talking about people that write more up like this. So yeah, I don't know how that would work. And it always says pull it towards you, but this stroke is going upwards. It's going upwards at a slant. Maybe that's the big difference. So we'll practice this a few more times here, and then we'll go on to the next stroke. Because until I see how this comes to be, I'm not sure if I'm doing it totally correct. Keep in mind that Che is trying to headbutt his way into the craft area. His father closed the door, but I keep hearing something knocking against it. All right, we'll finish this line and then we'll go on to the next step. All right, so once you feel comfortable, you go into the next step. So next step is, I just threw my water down. Thank goodness it's not. So the next step is this one. So we're going to make basically sort of a 1. almost, I think. All right, so we're going to go slant up and down, slant up, down, slant up, down, and keep on going. I don't know if I'm doing this well or not, but practice makes perfect. I don't expect to be a pro instantly. Though, if somebody would love to download that to my brain, I would be very happy. There used to be somebody I worked with, and I always said I'd wanted to download her brain. I'm just going to do another line of these. I keep going. I keep not wanting to do a straight line down. And I need to do that. I'm trying to watch the picture here. I will definitely be practicing some more, even away from camera. So we went from this first stroke to the first stroke and then the second, and then like it goes like this. Well, that's still the first stroke, they said. Okay, that's still the first stroke, I guess. So start practicing going up like that, and then this is still the first stroke. So that's one, supposedly, I'm guessing it's one smooth motion. So that's why they want you to do that. Number 2 is coming across. So you're making essentially an L. Is to come across here. So when you feel ready to go to the next step, do the first angle stroke. So that's stroke 1 is up and down, and then across for the angle stroke. So let's see how we do with this one. I have to laugh because I'm doing so well keeping everything straight. Okay, let's see how we do, guys. Am I in frame? No? Okay. I am now. I keep wanting to, because when I write with a slant. So I want to slant everything. So I seem to want to come down like this for that first stroke. And that's not what it's saying to do. Yeah, it's definitely something I want to practice. But this is what I want. This is the whole point of this, is we're all learning at the same time. This is the whole point, that why I wanted to do this is this isn't going to be a breeze, but it is going to be satisfying. But I want you guys to see the struggle, because I don't want somebody feeling that it's a them problem. It's definitely not a them problem. It is learning. That's all you can say, is it's learning. And I'm screwing up. And you know what? I don't care. I'm doing the best I can. I will practice off camera, of course, on the strokes that you and I do together. We're not moving past this page when you guys aren't with me. So this is what I want to make sure you know too. So I'm going to be doing this more, even though you guys may not be with me. I have to try to get my hands will need a rest every now and then, because they will give me trouble because they're not happy. But I'll do that. I just no, she doesn't take her. I'm trying not to take my nib off when I'm doing that angle. Okay, so I'm going to continue doing this, and I just want, these are all kind of special things that we are going to get into. So remember, please rinse off your nibs. I don't know. I think I just leave it the way it is. If I have a cartridge in there, I just kind of dip it just enough to get the nib clean. And then where's my, oh, I gotta pull another thing out, I guess. Look, I got ink all over. So I'm going to continue, so I'm not going to do a real good cleanup of that, but make sure we dip our nibs and clean them off. I don't think there's a way to open this, so I'm just going to call it clean as long as I dip it well. And yeah, and the ink's not coming out too much, so because that's pretty much what she said, is to just take it, always flush out with water before putting away. And this will give the nib a longer life. So, because you wouldn't take this out of the cartridge. You wouldn't take the cartridge out of that. I am still going to be taking and looking in, doing some research into the cartridge ones where we're not dipping, we're doing a cartridge pen. So I'm going to do more research on that and do our practicing, and we'll meet back here next time. Probably going to be, I would say, next week likely. So probably Monday-ish, and we'll practice and go from there. All right, you guys. Thanks. Bye.